or performer. What do those words make you think of? Personally, I think of a theater person, an actor, someone on stage giving a performance, or I think of a musician at a concert performing their art. I think of an athlete as they're performing before their audience at a game. Or I think of this speech in which I am performing before you, trying not to fall and trip over myself. And these are all things that people see within an hour or two or three, but that doesn't go to show the millions of minutes and days and hours that people put into their work, in which you're prepping for a presentation, in which you're studying before a test or practicing before you give a speech, before you perform your music, before you go on stage. I myself was a performer years before I came here in theater. Not only through my work in cast, where I was on the stage performing before people just as I'm doing now, but where I started, in crew. Crew is the backstage people. They're the ones you don't see, and so today I'm going to give you a glimpse behind the curtain into the job of a crew member and how they work before, during, and after a show. So, let's start at the beginning. Not the beginning of the show, but the real beginning, months before the curtain goes up. Stage crew doesn't just appear, come, run the show, and then leave. They work for months on end with the actors, and in fact, sometimes they begin before the actors do. In Laura Reynolds' article, How to Build a Set for Stage Design, published January 10, 2019, she tells us that a director should figure out the set very first, before even working with the actors. The reason why, you can't tell an actor to sit in a chair if you don't know where the chair is going to be. So from there, millions of jobs coalesce, and they're divvied up between different sections, the primary ones being lighting, sound, costumes, and then the physical construction of the set. But sometimes even those are too big of a job to handle, and so they divvy them up further, such as sound having a mic crew section, or costumes having makeup because there can never be enough for a theater performance, or the physical build being separated into construction of the hard, large physical aspects like walls and tables versus props and other smaller collectibles. In each of these situations, each of these pieces interact together and have to form the perfect atmosphere so that you can believe that what the performers are creating is true. I want to draw your attention to a picture provided by UK production Set Hire, Phantom of the Opera webpage, publishing date unknown. This is a pretty iconic scene. We all know Christine being lured into the mirror, into the lair of the Phantom. But when you look at it, there's a clear establishment of intense atmosphere. This foreground is completely dark, allowing lighting to establish a focal point on the Phantom. That's where your attention is drawn. The setting itself, the build of the walls, creates a grand look or grand theme that fits the theater in which the scene is set. Each of the individual props show champagne and flowers because the people love Christine. And the costumes are fit to the period in which the Phantom of the Opera is set. Each of these are planned, designed, built, and perfected far before the opening day so that you believe the show. But the job of crew isn't over. They take part in every aspect of the show too. A crew member during shows needs to know everything about it from what the actors know and more. Let's start with the whole script, perhaps. They need to know not only what's happening on stage, but the cues in between. Cues being when something needs to change. For example, lighting. When an act ends, the lighting needs to know to drop the lights so that set crew can go and change the scene from perhaps a stage performance of Christine into the back room of the Phantom's lair. Beyond that, they need to know where the actors are supposed to be, not just themselves, so that they can initiate costume changes behind the scenes when there's quick alterations between scenes. And they need to know set-specific entrances. You can't send the Phantom in through the side wing, he has to come in through the mirror. And they have to know the whole area around them, the backstage, of course, but the front stage themselves, because they're constantly changing set throughout the show. And so, this is a basic understanding of what they need to know in terms of the set. For example, if you're having a phantom come in, he will come in from upstage, and you need to know that the mirror is upstage, but perhaps a table is downstage so that he can interact with that as well. When the curtain closes, the show may be done, but the job of the crew is not. The crew continues to work even as the actors go home at the end of every performance, as Anne Hirsch describes in her article, Stage Crew Job Descriptions published January 10th, 2019. Stagehands prepare the stage by resetting scenes from previous performances, cleaning and setting props in the appropriate places. Every day after a show is done, they have to go through and set everything back, wipe the slate clean, and make it so that it's ready for the next performance. And that can take hours. And at the end of a production, when they stop showing the performance, it is the crew's job to take everything down. They deconstruct tables, they return costumes and rentals to where they came from, and they move anything that they're not using in their next performance into storage. Only once everything has been completely wiped away can the stage crew members say that their work is done. So there you have it, the basic job of a stage crew member. I don't need to tell anyone here, particularly not the performers, that that is a gross underestimation, oversimplification, if you will, of the job of a crew member. But next time you go to the performance, be sure to think of the people who are behind the scenes, doing so much more work than you could ever know.